Hey everybody, I thought I would just do a quick video on the things and lessons learnt over the last 4 years of being part of the EcoFlow system, having bought into it 4 years ago and slowly upgrading over a period of 4 years. Just my lessons learnt and what you should look out for when you are deciding to go with EcoFlow. Long story short, I started 4 years ago with the first Delta Pro. When we live in South Africa, where we have lots of outages, it was called load shedding, where you would have 2 to 4 hour planned outages, sometimes up to 3 times a day. So that's when I got into the EcoFlow, just as an easy way to plug and play and get going. These systems were very expensive back then. The prices have halved since I first bought my first Delta Pro. But then obviously once you've bought your first one, you're kind of into the ecosystem, and they offer a whole bunch of extra products that you can connect together. It's all plug and play, reasonably easy to DIY. And so that's why I got into the system. Today, 4 years later, I've learned a lot of lessons. And that's what I'd just like to share with you. First of all, let me mention that I have returned both of my Delta Pros, one of which was returned twice, and then eventually refunded because it couldn't be fixed the first time. The other Delta Pro was also returned and replaced. So I've had my fair share of challenges with them, which is very annoying because you have to send it away. They take like 2 weeks to send you a new one once they've checked the one that's come back to them. So it's very frustrating when that happens, but it is what it is. Now today I've fully maxed out the system, if I can put it that way. I cannot add anything more to it. I've got this, as you can see there, I've got the smart home panel, 2 Delta Pros. Each one of those Delta Pros have two of the extra batteries plugged into them. And then I've got the solar panels as well, maxed out, full 1,600 watts per Delta Pro on the roof. So there's nothing more I can add to the system. It is at its max. So if I can just go through some of the lessons learnt, obviously, if you're familiar with the interface of the Delta Pros, it's very nice. It's quite configurable. It's got a lot of nice little settings and stuff like that. However, as soon as you connect that into a smart home panel, you kind of lose some of that configuration. You kind of lose a lot of it, actually, because then, as EcoFlow puts it, the smart home panel then becomes the brains of the entire system. Which makes sense, but like I say, you lose a lot of the very nice functionality. One of the things that I'm quite disappointed about is after I'd put in my solar, only to realize that you cannot have it use exclusively solar when your batteries are above a certain percentage. And when they go below a certain percentage, you would want it to go and use AC as well. And that setting is inside each one of the Delta Pros. It's under energy management. There you can see it. And it's this little switch here, backup reserve, where you can say that if my battery has depleted to 40%, it must then plug in and keep the battery up at 40% with AC power. And as soon as it breaches that or goes past 40%, it must exclusively use solar only, which is obviously a money saving, but the point of that is to always have a backup reserve. And in South Africa, with all the power problems we have, that would have been a fantastic setting to have, but it doesn't work because it is because of the smart home panel becoming the brains, and it doesn't have this type of setting in it. So that's very disappointing, to say the least. And that was one of the biggest features that for a solar system that you'd expect to have in any solar system. And I know that competitors or an installed system would work in a very similar way. So again, very disappointed about that feature, that it doesn't work. The only way I can make this work is if I don't have the smart home panel, and then what's the point of that? So that was one of the things. I can tell you connectivity is often very bad. There you can see it. If you go too quickly into the app, then this is what happens. I have these circuits connected, but as you can see, there's nothing showing here. And once you've gone in, there's nothing you can do about it. You can go back and forth as many times as you want. That will not display, and probably the settings, same thing here. I don't know what it is about the connectivity. They've got massive issues with their connectivity, obviously because everything goes through the internet. It's not a direct connection to the app, through your home network. It goes through the internet to EcoFlow and then back to your app. The only way to get around that is to go all the way out of that device. I just count to 5, then go back into it, count to 5 again, wait a little bit before you press anything, and then, sometimes another way to do it is to go all the way out, pull down, refresh everything, count to 5, 3, 4, 5, then go back in, count to 5, and there we go. So there's all the things, and the screen is full. So there you can see what I've got connected. Circuit number 4 is actually a broken circuit. That is the one that will not work. This is the one that I mentioned. EcoFlow has refunded me for the smart home panel because that circuit is broken, doesn't work at all. And circuit 10 I just don't use. But that's basically what I've got there. Those ones in turquoise or light blue are the ones that are currently running off battery. And then the geyser is currently not running on battery. You can see the little icon there shows it's using the grid, and that's how that works. These are the settings. Again, very disappointed with what you'd hope for in terms of settings and automated tasks. Here I can only recharge the battery, and the problem with this is if I say the charge limit, as you can see here, if I set the charge limit to 50%, and I turn this setting on, what will happen is it will stop all inputs from charging, including solar. So now you can see this last one is switched on, recharge the battery is switched on, but you saw the setting there at the bottom here says charge limit 50%. So if I go back out to the actual Delta Pros to see what input's coming in, there you can see I'm no longer getting any solar input. Now that the so-called brains have disabled all input of power, which is quite silly, I think. And I would have to go back into the app and count again and switch this off. And why this is obviously frustrating is because now you have to continually monitor the system. If you've got a couple of days of bad weather, and let's say you're not at home, you're away on holiday or something like that, you can't just leave the system to manage it itself. You have to log in every day and make sure that your batteries have enough battery power in them if there is an outage, which, again, there's so much that could be done with this app that they haven't done, and it's been 4 years that I've had it, so I don't think anything's going to change. And I've tried all sorts of different settings. Here you can see in the actual settings of the smart home panel, you've got the charge limit and the discharge limit. Same thing, if I bring this down to 50% charge limit, it will stop charging from the solar altogether. All kind of inputs to charge will stop, which is unfortunate. There's absolutely zero solar, and outside I've got full sunshine, and it's 10:15 in the morning. I should be getting at least 200 watts of power at this time. In fact, I should be getting about 400 watts at this time of the day with full sunshine. But as you can see, I'm clearly getting no solar because of that smart setting. So I have to go back in and just change that. And once again, so now the charge limit is back to 100%, and I can go out and look at my Delta Pros, and suddenly, there we go, we got solar again. So very disappointed with that. Then another little one here with the automations. Why is my automations list here empty? Because there's very little you can do. Let's say that I wanted my, let's say every day I want them to do something. I can set that, or let's say when my smart home panel, we have a power outage. That's the only options I have there, as you can see, power outage. Let's say the Delta Pro, when the level is lower than, and I was hopeful here, I thought, okay, maybe this can do it when it gets below 40%, then I can tell it to charge from AC, and I save it, and then I go here and I say, okay, turn off AC discharging. It's only discharging. There's no charging, there's no smart home panel charging. Yeah, so kind of silly, not as smart as you'd hope. But basically, that's the update. I hope that helps you guys before you go and decide to get yourself an EcoFlow system. My regret is that now, because I've spent all the money on this, I'm stuck with it. And I just have to deal with the way it works, monitor it myself, unless EcoFlow, you watch this video and decide to just add in the features and give us a nice update that gives us the ability to do some of these things. Yeah, I hope that helps.